Here are the video solutions for AQA Functional Skills Maths Level 2. This is paper 1 from November 2022 and this is the non-calculator section. So let's have a look at question number 1. We want to circle the calculation that increases 80 by 47%. Okay, so this question indicates that you need to have a good understanding of percentage multipliers. Now, if you were calculating 47% of 80, the calculation would be 0.47 times by 80. This here is the multiplier for 47%. Not increasing by 47%, but just for working out 47% of an amount. This figure here is the decimal equivalent of the 47%. It is this number here divided by 100. Now, if you want to increase by 47%, you don't use 0.47, you add 1 to this number. So that would become 1.47. So the calculation would be 1.47 multiplied by 80, or 80 multiplied by 1.47, and that is the fourth answer there. Write 5/8 as a decimal. I wouldn't expect everyone to automatically know this. Remember, this line of a fraction means divide, so the calculation is 5 divided by 8. So 8, how many 8s go into 5? Looks a bit weird having the bigger number on the outside. So let's write 5 as 5.0 and put a decimal point above on top of the bus stop there. How many 8s go into 5? Well, 5 divided by 8 is 0 with a remainder of 5. 50 divided by 8 is 6. 6 8s are 48, so that's a remainder of 2, so I'll put in another 0 so I can park the 2 on it. 20 divided by 8 is 2 with a remainder of 4, so another 0 so I can park the 4 on it. 40 divided by 8 is 5, so the answer is 0.625. Not a fun question if you're not confident using the bus stop method, particularly where you're having to create a decimal answer. Okay, question number 3, circle the largest number. Well, they want you, I suppose the temptation is to write minus 15 because we know that 15 is bigger than 5, 2 and 8. But it doesn't quite work like that with negative numbers. So here's our number line: 0, 1, 2, 3. So we know the numbers are getting bigger to the right. So they're getting smaller to the left. Minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5, minus 6, minus 7. And so we've got minus 2, minus 5. So if they're bigger, they're bigger if they are further to the right. So minus 2 is greater than minus 5, which is greater than minus 8, which is greater than minus 15. So the answer is negative 2. Okay, so we want to work out the probability of outcome C. Well, we need to remember that the probability always adds up to 1. So first of all, let's work out the probability of A or B or D happening. So that would be 0.23 plus 0.071 and 0.538. As long as the decimal points are in line, then everything else will automatically be in line. So let's add these together. You can put a 0 there if you want to make sure that all the numbers are the same length. 1 plus 8 is 9, 7 plus 3 is 10, plus 3 is 13, carry the 1, 5, 6, 7, 8. Should have put my decimal point in at the beginning, so 0.839. So probabilities always add up to 1, so what is the difference between 1 and 0.839? I've written 1 as 1.000. 1 will become a 0, so 0 becomes 10. 10 becomes 9, so this can become a 10. 10 becomes a 9, so that this becomes a 10. And 10 take away 9 is 1. 9 take 3 is 6. And 9 minus 8 is 1. 0 minus 0 is 0. So the answer is 0.161. Question number 5. This question here is testing our understanding of BIDMAS. So we have brackets. So we need to do the 9 squared minus 31 first. Now inside the brackets we have subtraction, but we also have indices. So we need to do the 9 squared first. Well, 9 squared means 9 times 9. So that is 81 take away 31. And that's going to have the 2 in front of it, and that's going to be over 5. So now we can do the brackets. 81 take 31 is 50. So that is 2 times by 50 over 5. And of course 2 times 50 is 100. So that's 100 over 5. In other words, 100 divided by 5. So the answer is 20. And that is the end of section A. Okay, moving on to section B and question 6, fruit and vegetables. So the key thing here is remembering that the scale is 2 centimetres for 3.5 meters, or we could also say that 1 centimeter represents 1.5 meters, just halving the ratio there. So the rectangular vegetable patch is 3 meters by 15 meters. Okay, so well, we know that 3 meters is going to be 2 centimeters on the picture. So let's just write this down as a ratio. I'm just going to write it down as it's 2 to 3, just ignoring the fact 1 centimeters and 1 is meters. That will just confuse things if we do a bit of a conversion. And we want 15 meters. So this is the centimeters, this is the meters. So we're going to go, so we wanted, what was it again? 15. So how many times greater than 3 is 15? Well, 3 times by 5 is 15. So therefore we want to boost this by 5 as well. So that is 10. So the rectangular vegetable patch is going to be 2 centimeters by 10. So let's just draw that in straight away. So there's 2 by 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Ideally you would use a ruler. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. There we go. That's the vegetable patch. Okay, so we know that 2 centimeters is, if 2 centimeters is 3 meters, then if I double this, then 4 centimeters is going to be 6 meters. Okay, so this is going to be something by 4 centimeters. And it's 4.5 meters. Okay, so I know that we've established that 2 centimeters is 3 meters. So if I half this, then 1 centimeter is 1.5. Now I know that this 4.5 is 3 plus 1.5. Now 3 meters is 1.5, 3 meters is 2 centimeters and 1.5 meters is 1 centimeter. So therefore this 4.5 meters will be 3 centimeters. So this is a 3 centimeters by 4 centimeters. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. So that is the, maybe we should label this as the greenhouse. And this is the rectangular vegetable patch. I'll just put RVP there. Right, and finally the circular fruit patch has got a radius of 3 meters. Well, that means it's got a radius of 2 centimeters on the drawing. So there we go. Let's just pick this randomly as the center. So radius of 2, radius of 2, radius of 2, radius of 2. So it's just now a question. Ideally, you would use a compass to turn this into a circle. That's not the most horrendous effort ever, but there we go. So that is the circular fruit patch. I'll just put CFP for short, and we are done there. Okay, so for this question, we know we've got some data for inside, and we've got the median and the range for outside. So what we're going to do is we are going to compare the median and the range for both. So this we know is outside. So I'm just going to put another box on here just for simplicity for the inside. So what I want to do is work out the median for the inside. So there's no, as soon as I saw this, I didn't read the question properly. I see here the higher average, so I instantly worked out the mean by adding them all up and dividing by 10. But we don't want the mean because we want to compare like for like, so we're not going to compare the median to the mean. We're going to compare the median to the median of this data here. So the median is the middle value, but it's the middle once they are in order. So first of all, let's put these in order. So it goes 293, that's the lowest value, then 295, 297, 295, 297, then I think it's 301, 304. Next smallest is 310, then 320, 321, and then 324 and 333. It says there's 10. Let's just check I've got 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so to find the median, I'm going to cross off from each end until I get 1 or maybe 2 in the middle. So do that again. Let's repeat the process a third time and a fourth time. Now, unfortunately, we've got 2 in the middle, not 1 in the middle. So there's still a bit more work to do to work out the median. The reason why there's 2 in the middle is because we've got an even number of values. If there'd been 9 or 11 raspberry plants, an odd number, we would have got 1 in the middle. So all we need to do is work out, well, what's halfway between 304 and 310. So it's going to be 300 and something. Well, what's halfway between 4 and 10? And if you're not sure, just add the 2 together and divide by 2. 4 plus 10 is 14. 14 divided by 2 is 7. So the middle is going to be 307. So the median is 307. And the range is the difference between the biggest and the smallest. So 333 take away 293 is 40. Okay. So, should she grow the raspberries inside or outside? So the one with a higher average is clearly inside. So inside has the higher average. And let's put down 307, which is greater than 298. And, well, she wants it to be more consistent. Well, it has to be still inside. It can't be winning on median but losing on range. But so here we're comparing the range. So if the range is, we need to remember that the lower the range, more consistent. Inside has the higher average and is more consistent as the range is lower. And you might just want to state that it's 40, which is less than, what was the other one? 78. There we go. So the answer is simply inside. Okay, so this final question here, we know that we're mixing 2 kilos, I'll just write here, raspberry is 2 kilos and sugar 2.4. Okay, so what we can do with this information is therefore 1 kilo, which is half of 2, would be half of 2.4, which is 1.2, and half it again, 0.6. So 3.5 kilos of raspberries. Well, actually 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 0.5 is 3.5. So therefore, if we're just adding these 3 together to get the 3.5, let's add these together to get the equivalent amount of sugar. 6 plus 4 is 10, plus 2 is 12, so 2 carry 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.2. Okay, so 4.2 kilos of sugar is needed. Alana's got 4 kilos, so that's simply 4.2 take away 4, which is 0.2 kilos. And to convert kilos into grams, remember that 1 kilo is 1,000 grams, so to go from kilos to grams, we're multiplying by 1,000. 0.2 multiplied by 1,000 is 200, so that is 200 extra grams of sugar needed. And that's the end of the section. This is paper 2 from November 2022, and this is the calculator section. So question number 1, circle the integer. Well, you just need to remember that an integer is a whole number. So the first number is a decimal, the second is a fraction, the fourth is a decimal as well, so 7 is the only integer. Question number 2, write this number in words. So I'd always recommend from the right hand side, after every group of 3, put in a comma, and next group of 3, put in another comma. So this comma here replaces the word 1,000, and the second comma replaces the word million. So the answer in words is going to be 9,507,000 followed by a comma, so 907,211. Okay, so question number 3, turning 3 years to 9 months as a ratio. Well, the problem is we've got different units. Well, 3 years, that's going to be 3 times by 12, which is 36 months. So as a ratio, that is 36 to 9. Both of these numbers are divisible by 9. 36 divided by 9 is 4. 9 divided by 9 is 1. So the answer is 4 to 1. Question number 4. Okay, so x is 3, 5. Remember, we go horizontally, then vertically. So 3 along, 5 up, so that is x. Y is 5 along minus 3, so that means we're going down there to y, and z is minus 3, so across to minus 3 and then down to minus 5. So this is z minus 3 down to minus 5. There we go. So x, y, z, all sorted. Write the name, the mathematical name of this solid shape. Okay, so this shape has got a constant cross section. It's a triangle at the front, it's a triangle at the back, and if I were to saw right through the middle here, I would expose the same size triangle as its face. So if it has a constant cross section, it is a prism. So this is a triangular prism. Okay, number 6, calculate 2 1/5 plus 1 3/4. So I'm just going to collect the whole numbers together. So that is 3 plus 1/5 plus 3/4. Let's focus on the 1/5 plus 3/4. I'm going to do the crisscross smiley face technique. 1 times 4 is 4, plus 3 times 5 is 15, all over 5 times 4, which is 20. So that's 19 over 20. So that's 3 plus 19 over 20. So 3 and 19/20. Done. Okay, question number 7. We want to work out the height given the area. So the area of a triangle is the base times by the height divided by 2. And here the area is 20. So base times height divided by 2 is 20. In other words, maybe it's easier to think of it as half the base times height is 20, in which case the full base times height is going to be 40. Now we know the base is 8. So if the base is 8, we can replace b with 8. So 8h equals 40. So if 8h is 40, then h is going to be 40 divided by 8. So the answer is 5 centimeters. And now we can check it backwards. 5 times 8 is 40, half it, 20. We know we've definitely got it right. Okay, so for this question we just need to substitute negative 1.8 into the formula. So it's 2 lots of 7 plus 3 multiplied by minus 1.8. 3 times by minus 1.8 is minus 5.4. This looks a bit weird, plus minus overall means minus. 7 take away 5.4 is 1.6, so that becomes 2 times by 1.6, and the answer is therefore 3.2, and that is the end of section A. Okay, so on to section B. So what we want to do here is work out the average speed. So the speed is the distance divided by the time, but we want the speed in miles per hour and we've got the distance in kilometers. Now the problem is we can't find 380 kilometers because it goes off the scale here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for a nice point. This point here is kind of okay. So 5 kilometers is 3 miles. Is there a better one that we can do here perhaps? I'm looking at this point here. I think that's a bit easier to use. So here we know that 40 kilometers is 25 miles. And we want to convert 380 kilometers. So how many times bigger is 380 than 40? Well, the question is, that's kind of difficult to answer. So what we need to do is divide 380 by 40. 380 divided by 40 is 9.5, which means that 40 times 9.5 is 380. So I need to multiply the 25 miles by 9.5, and that gives me 237.5 miles. So the speed is the distance divided by the time. So the speed is the distance of 237.5 miles divided by the time, which was 5 hours 30 minutes. So that's 5.5 hours. So here we need to be careful that we're dividing by 5.5. So the average speed works out to be 43.18, and that is over 90 miles per hour. So Asha is correct. Okay, question B. So this is quite a challenging one. So first of all, we know what P is. We're not trying to work out P. So I'm going to write here that P, which is £605.17, is 0.73 lots of 0.14, we don't know the distance, that's what we're trying to work out, plus 65 times by 5, because the n is 5. Let's tidy this up. 605.17 is 0.73 lots of 0.14d plus 65 times by 5 is 325. So what I'm going to do to both sides is I'm going to divide both sides by 0.73. That will get rid of this bit here. And 605.17 divided by 0.73 is 829. So 829 is 0.14d plus 325. Now I'm going to take away 325 from both sides. So I've got 504 is 0.14d. And now I'm going to divide both sides by 0.14. And 504 divided by 0.14 is 3,600 equals d. There we go. Very tough on that one. So the distance in kilometres is 3,600. Okay, question number 10. We want the probability of picking red and an even number. So what is the probability of picking red here? So there's 3 balls and 1 is red, so that is 1/3. And an even number, there's out of the 5, there's only 2. So what we need to do is we need to multiply the probabilities together. So 1/3 multiplied by 2/5, so that is 2 over 15. And is that more than 10%? Well, let's turn this fraction into a percentage. So top divided by bottom multiplied by 100, and that comes to 13.3 recurring percent. So the chance of winning is more than 10%. So yes, Carol is correct. Okay, on to D. So all we need to do is just measure all the lines. So we've got 2 times by 36.5 plus, be careful here, there's the centre line as well, so 3 times by 27.5. Let's just do the horizontal and vertical ones first. So that comes to 155.5 metres. Now here I've got a semicircle and here I've got another semicircle, and I can just chuck them together to make one circle. The circumference of a circle is 2 pi r, so that's 2 times by 3.14 multiplied by the radius, which is 8, and that comes to 50.24. And then I've got this another 2 pi r here, so that's 2 times by 3.14 times by a radius of 1.5, and that comes to 9.42. So the total distance of all the lines is 155.5 plus 50.24 plus 9.42, and that comes to 215.16 metres. Multiply that by £3.25 per metre, so £3.25 times by 215.16, and that comes to a total of £699.27p. Okay, question C. So the first thing we need to do is work out 2/7 of £8,225. So to do that, take your total, divide by the number on the bottom, times by the number on the top, and what do we get? We get a total of 2,350, and this is what is invested. Okay, and it's getting 3% per year, so we need to increase this by 3%. So the multiplier for 3% is this figure here divided by 100, 0.03. But this is the multiplier as if we were working out 3% of a total. We don't want to work out 3%, we want to increase by 3%. So we need to add 1 for the increase multiplier. So that's 1.03. So 2350 multiplied by 1.03, and this is per year for 4 years. So we need to multiply by 1.03 4 times. And therefore we get a total of 2,644.95, Is the investment worth more than 2,700? No. The investment is less than 2,700. And we're done on that question. Okay, moving on to question number 11. So the first thing we want to do is work out the volume of the sphere, which is a scoop of ice cream. So that is 4/3 times by pi, 3.14, times by the radius cubed, so 2.8 times 2.8 times by 2.8. So I would do 4 times 3.14 times the 2.8 and then divide the answer by 3 just to be on the safe side, and that comes to 91.9057, and that's cubic centimetres per scoop. Now we want 200 scoops, so we want to multiply that by 200, so 200 times 91.9057 comes to 18,381.1413 cubic centimetres. Now I'd now turn this into litres by dividing that by 1,000, so 18381 divide by 1,000, and that is 18.38 litres. Okay, so if she's buying it in 5 litre tubs, 5 litres 1 tub, 10 litres 2 tubs, 15 litres 3 tubs, 20 litres 4 tubs, so therefore she will need 4 5-litre tubs. Okay, so for part B, so this is the price after the discount. So what was the price before? The original price, OP, if 15% has been taken off, that means Susie paid 85% of the original price. So the original price needs to have been multiplied by 0.85 to give us this new price of £76.50. So for the original price, I'm just going to move the times 0.85 over to the other side, and when you move something from one side of an equation to another, you flip the sign. So the opposite of multiplying is division. So 76.50 divided by 0.85, so the original price of the tub of ice cream would be £90. It's quite challenging when you have to work out the original from a new value after a percentage increase or decrease has been applied. So how much has she saved? She saved £90. Take away the £76.50. So in total she saved £13.50 saved. I save less than £14, so yes, Susie is correct, since £13.50 is less than £14. Okay, so we want to work out that the probability of buying at least one topping, well, that is 79 for sauce only, plus the 161 sauce and flake, plus 104, which is flake only, over the number of customers she had, which was 79 plus 161 plus 104 plus the 196 who didn't get any toppings at all. Now if we add up the top numbers, we get 344, and on the bottom we get 540. So we want to work out, is this bigger or smaller than 7/10? Now it's probably easier if we turn 7/10 into a decimal, 0.7. Let's turn this fraction into a decimal. 344, remember this line of a fraction means divide, divided by 540 comes to just to a couple of decimal places, 0.637, and of course 0.637 is not greater than 0.7. Does Susie achieve the probability she hopes to get? No. Susie doesn't achieve the probability of 7/10. Okay, moving on to question 12. So the first thing we need to do is convert these inches into centimetres. So 1 inch is 2.5, so 20 inches is 20 times by 2.5, which is 50 centimetres. and then 9 inches is going to be 9 lots of 2.5, and that is 22.5 centimetres. Okay, so let's work out the number of rectangular pieces she can get from one frame. So we need to think about, well, how many 11s go into 50? So 50 divided by 11 is, well, it's 4 point something, so let's just round it down to 4. So we can get 4 going this way, so 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to be a bit left over, but we won't worry about that. And we want to divide 22.5 by 7.5, which is 3. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we've got a bit of, we're going to have a little bit of wastage over here, but it's going to be 4 across and 3 up. So that means in total there will be 12. I can draw the lines just to demonstrate that. So one frame, I'd get 12 lots of 11 centimetres by 7.5 centimetre honeycomb pieces. Okay, so if we've got 8 frames, that's just going to be 8 lots of 12, which is 96. Okay, so for this part here, packet 2 is 2/3. Now what I need to do for packet 1 is I need to measure these angles. Now if you measure this angle, so obviously you need to use a protractor, that should be approximately 120. This angle here should be approximately 60, and this angle here should be approximately 45. If you're within a couple of degrees, it will still be acceptable. So out of the total 360 degrees, what is 60 plus 45 plus 120? That comes to 225. So what is bigger, 2/3 or 225 over 360? Let's just write this down over here. 225 over 360. We're comparing that to 2/3. Now I know that 2/3 is 0.666 or 6 recurring. Now to turn this from a fraction into a decimal is just 225 divided by 360, and 225 divided by 360 is 0.625. 0.625 is obviously less than 0.666, so there's a greater proportion of bee-friendly flowers in packet 2. Okay, so therefore there's our statement. She should choose packet 2. Question 12c. So here are the instructions for planting flower seeds. Use 4 grams of seed per square metre of garden. Mix the seeds with sand in the ratio of seed to sand 2:5. And we want to estimate the total mass of seed and sand mix needed to cover an average sized garden. Okay, so in order to work out the average sized garden, we need to use this table here. So we know that there are 2 gardens between 0 and 10 square metres. So these 2 gardens could both be 10 square metres exactly, or they could be, I don't know, something crazy like 1 square centimetre, which would be absolutely preposterous. So what do? Well, we just assume that both these gardens are exactly halfway between 0 and 10. This is why this is an estimate. So we're assuming that these 2 gardens have an area of 5 metres squared. That's the best we can do. Just assume it's halfway between 0 and 10. So that's why we've got this column here for midpoint. So 10 to 20, the midpoint is 15, 20 to 30 is 25, and 30 to 40 is 35. So what we want here are the estimated totals. So if we've got 2 gardens and we're assuming they're both 5 square metres, then the combined, then that would be 10 square metres, 2 times 5. So with these estimated mean questions, what you need to do is work out a midpoint and multiply frequency by midpoint. So that's what I'm doing in this column here. So multiply 8 by 15. It does help if you can understand why we're doing these things. 8 times by 15 is 120. 12 times by 25 is 300. 3 times by 35 is 105. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to work out the estimated mean of all the gardens. That's going to be the the estimated mean area. That's going to be the estimated total areas of all of them together. So I need to add this column here. So 10 plus 120 plus 300 plus 105 comes to 535. That's why they've left the box here. And how many gardens were there? Well, the number of gardens is the total of the frequency column, because we've got 2 gardens between 0 and 10, another 8 between 10 and 20. So if we add these up, we know in total there are 25 gardens. So the estimated mean area is going to be the estimated total area, which is 535, divided by the exact number of gardens, which is 25, and that tells me that the estimated mean is 21.4 square meters, and 21.4 is somewhere between 0 and 40, so we've got a vaguely believable value. Okay, so we know that we need to use 4 grams of seed per square meter of garden. Now, if the ratio of mass of seed to mass of sand is 2 to 5, that means for 2 grams of seed we need 5 grams of sand. So therefore, if we've got 4 grams of seed, we are doubling this ratio, and 5 times by 2 is 10. So for 4 grams of seed we need 10 grams of sand. Sorry, 4 grams of seed to 10 grams of sand. So in total that is 14 grams that we need for each square meter. Now if we've got 21.4 square meters, what we need to do is multiply 21.4 by the 14 grams. Remember, we need 14 grams of mix in total for 1 square meter, which is a combination of 4 grams of seed plus 10 grams of sand. So multiplying that by 14, and we get an answer of 299.6 grams of seed and sand mix. So there we go, that's our final answer, 299.6 grams, and that's the end of this assessment.